Hi, I'm Ben Potter. I am the strategy director at Friday Solve. We are a sales consultancy and we help predominantly agencies, but also businesses across other sectors as well, build a sustainable, scalable, predictable sales engine inside their business. So what I mean by that is we're not an outsourced lead generation agency. Fundamentally, we believe that sales is something that should be owned by the business, and therefore our job is to help them build something internally which hopefully helps them solve the sales problem once and for all. Good question. When we spoke about this earlier on, there's no silver bullet necessarily. What I'd probably recommend if the pipeline is looking fragile right now is to not necessarily focus on net new, and sort of trying to kind of solve the problem by setting up cold outreach campaigns, for example, because ultimately it takes a long time to firstly build the engine, get the campaigns up and running, but more so to start to see the results of that. And it goes back to something we were speaking about earlier on, that the vast majority of people are not in the market at any one time for that agency services. So actually what I'd recommend doing is starting to focus more so initially on what we call kind of the messy middle, the middle of funnel. So have a look at existing relationships, have a look at your past clients, have a look at people you might have pitched to or proposed to in the last few months. Have a look at prospects, so people that you've spoken to, maybe not delivered a proposal to, but maybe that's gone off the boil. So there's an opportunity to maybe kind of pick that up and re-engage. Have a look at people that might just be on a notepad in your head. Download your LinkedIn network is a really good one. Every time I ask this question of somebody, is when was the last time you downloaded your LinkedIn network? Most of the time it's like, didn't even know you could do it. Download your LinkedIn network and spend a bit of time over a cup of tea going through the CSV file. I would be amazed if you didn't come across people where you go, oh, okay, that's interesting, that person's now moved to that company, or I didn't know they were there, or God, we haven't spoken to that person for so long. Build yourself a bit of a hit list of people you can go out and re-engage with. For me, if your pipeline's looking really thin right now and you haven't done that recently, I always tend to start there. A healthy pipeline for me is more opportunity than you actually need at that particular time. So what I mean by that is you're going to have an idea of what kind of sales targets you're looking to meet and what your growth kind of target looks like for the agency overall. That should give you an idea of how many bits of new business you need to win in any typical year. From there you can extrapolate that backwards and start working out, okay, well, how many proposals, how many pitches, how many meetings, how much outreach do we need to be doing? Now, you're going to figure that out first, and that's going to give you a baseline for the value you need to have in your pipeline at any one point. If the question is, what does a healthy pipeline look like? Ideally, you've got opportunity which is in excess of that, which is more than you actually need. Because what that gives you, and this is something that not enough people talk about in my opinion, it gives you choice. Choice in which clients you decide to take on versus which you look at and go, well, we could take that work on, but actually they're not a particularly good fit, or actually the guy's a bit of an idiot. Do we really want to work with this person? You don't have the benefit of choice when your pipeline is thin. You've still got the same bills to pay, mouths to feed, etc. So what we tend to end up doing is actually having to take on business just to keep the lights on, and it always bites us on the arse later on, right? Further down the line, that client who we knew was going to be a bit of a pain, that turns out to be the case, or the brief wasn't quite right, or we kind of made up a service a little bit on the fly, and we sort of deliver it, but it doesn't go particularly well. So for me, it's all about choice. It's being able to look at the pipeline and go, we're going to really focus our attention on opportunity 1, 2, and 5, but we're going to get rid of 3, 7, and 8, because actually we can do that because we've got enough in our pipeline whereby we don't have to continue exploring those opportunities. So it's all about choice. If I was to describe a healthy pipeline, it's choice. Again, it probably goes back to something we were speaking about a little bit earlier on. I think the default often is when the pipeline is thin, when you're one of those kind of periods of peaks and troughs, and you're in that kind of trough and you're looking at the pipeline going, we need leads. That's kind of the default position. And ultimately, a whole industry kind of gorges itself on the idea that that's how new business works. We've all seen it on LinkedIn. You've got all these people on there sending emails saying, we can guarantee you 20 leads, qualified leads a month, people that are ready to talk to you right now. The reality is that's not how the world works. Most people are not in the market at any one time. So I think the single biggest mistake I make is the assumption that that's how new business works. It doesn't. But leading on from that, the fact that then kind of outsource the problem to somebody else. So they'll approach an outsourced agency or consultant, and they'll hope that they'll be able to fix that problem very, very quickly. And ultimately they can't. Even if they've got a really, really good approach, a really good sales engine working, even if they're striking up responses and conversations, that's not going to translate into new business right now. Every so often you might get really lucky. You just so happen to reach out to somebody at the right time, but it's pretty rare that happens. So I still think people ultimately look for the silver bullet, and the silver bullet doesn't exist. But I think we default to thinking there's an easy solution, and the reality is sadly there isn't. And I think outsourcing the problem to lead gen agencies is definitely part of that. Great. I think it's been great. Obviously, nice to be asked to speak. On a personal level, I did something I've never done before. I didn't use slides today. I just had some cue cards that seemed to go okay. I think so. On a personal level, I kind of pushed myself out my comfort zone a little bit, which was great. But yeah, it's been great. The talks have been interesting thus far. I'm looking forward to the panel later on. I think events like this are so important right now, in particular. Most of us are working from home at least some of the week, and for a long time, face-to-face events clearly, back in COVID couldn't happen. So I think any effort to get kind of people out of behind their kind of desk in their bedrooms or offices and kind of together, networking, having conversations, etc., I think is massively valuable. I've spoken to sort of 3 or 4 people, 1 or 2 I knew already, but also people I hadn't met before. So you can't beat networking ultimately. So. And I hope actually this will become more and more important as AI becomes an even more kind of dominant part of our lives. I think certainly what we sort of saw in COVID, what we experienced through sort of social media is a kind of a distancing of people, and I think that's happening even more so with AI potentially as well. So I think having in-person events like this makes it even more important.
Yeah.